Cory,
yes,
you watched the entire Star Wars double trilogy.
I did
recently.
I watched Star Wars.
How much did you not know? How much did you know before going into it?
Nothing.
Did you know Darth Vader was?
I knew Darth Vader was the bad guy.
Spoiler
I knew
alert.
Luke was the good guy.
You know, spoilers. He's a
spoilers. I knew the bad guy, the Emperor guy with the cape, dies, and I knew that he was his father.
Okay, that's everything.
Or no, Darth Vader was Luke's father. And don't get confused with the Emperor.
Yeah, let's just run.
That's all I knew when I went into Star Wars, and then I saw Star Wars, and I'm like, what's all this other shit that's stupid?
That's controversial.
No, it's absolutely.
How did you watch them though? Did you watch from like the Phantom Menace onwards, or did you watch from?
I started from the prequels all the way to the end, and it's funny too because like I'm gonna break this down exactly how I see it. I'll give you the run-in. I'll give you my analysis on Star Wars from start to finish. Yeah. I'll be quick. I'm not gonna stick long because like first of all, I can sum up the first two. The first one's terrible. Everyone knows it's terrible.
Phantom Menace.
There was some good stuff in it. I'm not gonna say that, but the good stuff wasn't in it enough. There's too much fucking like
council meetings.
Yeah, there's too much meetings. There's too much like the fucking like the Jedi Academy.
You didn't find trade embargoes interesting?
No, I didn't. I didn't care, man.
The taxation of trade route.
And I thought.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like you're watching Star Wars and you see like, you know, obviously Jar Jar Binks is stupid, but his character's pointless. And it's like his role in it was completely pointless. It's like for the kids, but the kids, you know, the kids were laughing, I guess.
They were laughing.
I do just want to say that there's a video out there that it states basically that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord.
Yeah,
and it's convincing as fuck.
It is, yeah, it's really good.
And I believe it.
Which would have been better. And I've heard this, and I think it would have been brilliant
George
if that would have
like,
happened.
Lost his spine at some point. He just saw the hatred. Everybody was saying Jar Jar was this racist character.
Misa, Misa, stop in poo-poo shit. Poo-poo pee-pee.
I never ever put that together. I can't believe I've never even thought of that.
Everybody was saying that. Everybody was saying that.
That's so true. I used to love Jar Jar when I was a really young kid.
He had those like...
He was my favorite character when I was really young.
He fit the role of a slave. He had like those bug eyes and that like snail-like texture on his face.
Well, that's Phantom Menace. What about the next one? The Attack of the Clones.
Are you saying slaves have scale-like textures?
Okay, all right. Here we
Clones.
go. All right, I'm gonna break it down for you. First of all, I think Attack of the Clones is absolutely one of the most insulting fucking movies because I saw the Clone War, the animated Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I saw the first
very good.
half. I saw 45 minutes of nothing but action scenes and like brilliantly crafted fucking like Samurai Jack style like fighting, and it was fucking genius.
This is their spin-off cartoon, by the way.
It was canon, so it's canon. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it.
Right.
And then you watch the Clone Wars, which is clones of this stupid asshole, which makes no sense. It's fucking Jango Fett. And his worthless idiot kid that you don't care about at all.
Bobo.
Which I'll get into that in the future about
Fett
fucking
is cool.
Boba Fett's an idiot, and I'll get into that.
Fucking cool.
All right, okay. So the third movie I like. I like the third movie because the third movie to me was kind of like the last piece of the puzzle. I got everything. It like fucking opened my eyes. All these like dumb mouth breathing retards that made 1 and 2, I finally got it in 3. I was like, oh, thanks for opening the window. The light shined in.
It had its moments. I think partially had its moments.
I really liked 3. There was some stuff I didn't like, but overall I liked 3.
I liked 3 too.
And then I thought 4, it was all right, but it kind of stretched on a little long. It was cheesy and charming, but I was just like...
It was an adventure movie.
It was a little boring.
Don't think of it like just think of it as a standalone adventure
It
movie.
was good, but this is going to sound fucked up, but I kind of scaled Star Wars based on if I fall asleep enough in the fucking movie. I fell asleep a lot in 1 and rewatched it. I fell asleep a few times in 2, and for the third one, I was awake the whole time. I was on the edge of my seat. The fourth one, I kind of fell asleep a little bit. But the fifth one, I was on my seat the whole time. I love the fifth one. The sixth one, I think, is a piece of shit. I think only the last fight with the Emperor was good, and I think the Ewok shit can eat a dick.
Solid.
Man, how many times can a fucking...
And let me say something, because this is something that fucking pisses me off. Everyone blows their load over Boba Fett. But fucking Alexi said you're going to love Boba Fett in 6. And fucking he gets his ass handed to him by a fucking blind Han Solo. But in a fucking Three Stooges skit where they use a fucking wood to knock his ass into the side of the ship and he falls into the monster's maw. And I was like, that's fucking Boba Fett?
Sarlacc?
That's the cool dude who sits in the background and that's the fucking good guy? Everyone likes this retard who can't even fucking, he has terrible perception? So in my opinion,
he just looks cool. That's what
fuck Boba Fett. He has a cool design.
My beef with that movie is how many. Me and Chris watched the original unedited trilogy.
You know what I think of Boba Fett? All I could think about is fucking the little kid from Shazam. I think that's the motherfucker.
What are you
played.
talking about?
You know the little kid? The little kid? It's either him from, what's the movie with the kid who goes back? He's like a fucking like baseball player and he goes to the medieval times.
Oh, Black, is it? No, I'm trying to remember the damn
Black
movie.
Knight or something?
Black Knight,
yeah.
no, that's-
It's either him or the fucking kid from Shazam with the curly hair. That's all I thought when I saw Boba Fett Jr.
Do you like young Anakin? He's like, woohoo!
No.
Yippee!
No, I hated.
Are you an angel?
I hated him in Jingle All the Way.
This is pod racing.
Yeah.
So his prized role in the first one was terrible.
Man, I
It was
feel
funny.
so bad for him.
I do
like,
too.
it's not his fault at all. George Lucas is a fucking idiot.
No,
he
I agree.
ruined that kid's life.
You know
And
what?
it's-
No, I
everyone
agree.
gives
Look,
the kid
No,
shit.
George Lucas didn't ruin his life.
He did fucking ruin his
He
life.
didn't know what was going to happen, right?
There's some picture of him like recently. He's got like a scruffy beard and he just looks
Yeah,
drunk
He
and
looks like one of us. Like,
Do you know what he did? He fucking like he threw his mom on the ground and kicked her in the ribs.
he
and
looks
it,
like a sleepy cat.
this is not a joke. He threw his mom on the ground, kicked her in the ribs one day. He's like, "You ruined my life!" And then he got in her car and he got on a high speed like chase across like 3 counties. And the
a
police.
speeder bike.
No, it was a
he's
real
letting it
car.
get to his head too much. He could walk away anonymously as fuck. No one will recognize him.
What are you
anymore.
talking about? People, of course, gonna recognize him. He's the most fucking hated thing in the world, probably.
No.
Yes,
Absolutely not.
Yes.
He's not even.
Star Wars is the biggest thing ever. It's
Have
bigger
you-
than Hitler
have
and
you
Bugs
seen-
Bunny.
Well,
He's
have,
not- okay,
have
look,
you seen
first of
Justin
all-
Bieber? He gets a lot of hate.
Just paper.
His new album is actually pretty dope, actually. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, George Lucas, he should have had his thinking cap on. He ruined the kid's life.
I
did.
disagree completely. The reason why they chose him actually is because Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to play Anakin. He looks just like a young Leonardo DiCaprio, but Leo saw the script and said nah. so they just got that other
He's
unknown
good at
dude.
picking his script.
Yeah, he's really good at picking his
Did you like the new one, Cory?
I did, but then I liked it, and it was like I was talking to Chris about this. What I didn't like, what was everybody talked about, was all these. I watched Star Wars. Every day for like a week. I watched Star Wars once a day, and then I watched a bunch of Seinfeld. But after that, I watched Star Wars. And for me, I was watching it, and then I was just like, I get it. Okay, you don't need fucking music cues every time you bring up something Star Wars related. I'm not a retard. Like I can understand when I see an object from an old thing I saw.
What do you think of like, you know, the episode 1 and then all the like the writing comes up at the start, you know, with the theme song and it tells you what's happening? Do you like that? Do you find that charming or do you find that just pointless and stupid? And a
I
gimmick?
think I think it's stupid because I'm dyslexic and I can't read anyways. So when the scrolling text is going out, I'm just
I
like,
can never concentrate on that. I always forget what
read it.
happens and then I'm like, what?
You know,
I'm not gonna read exposition.
controversial opinion. I respect the prequels more than I respect the new movie.
I love
The new
Force
movie?
Awakens. I love the new movie.
Because they're so like.
Because at least George Lucas was trying something different.
Yeah.
The new one just felt so calculated.
Oh, I thought you meant the like you respect
No.
the prequels more than the original.
No, like
I completely
the
agree.
idea-
No, I disagree.
The Force
completely
Awakens
agree.
felt like a bunch of dudes sat in a room around a table and probably
and they were like, no.
and they jot down a bunch of ideas from the original trilogy and they're
Yeah.
like, this will work, and it's just this committee written script.
Are you talking about the
No.
fourth one?
No, the
the
seventh
new
one.
The brand new
seventh-
one.
the seventh one.
No, but see, I think it felt like a
Seven.
Star Wars movie
The
from
Force-
Oh,
start
are
to
you
finish.
talking about the prequels of the new
It
one?
felt like a big boring.
The one
bore
that's out
fest.
in
No, it
theaters,
wasn't for me.
no.
I was excited at the edge of my seat for that fucking
See,
movie. I love that movie.
This is what I always saw it as, and I talked to Shad about it. You see it as like, so Star Wars has a huge shadow they have to fill. It has like huge shoes and everything, and you see, you know, like, why the fuck did Darth Vader wear his mask?
cover up his
Because
ugly
he-
ass head. like,
That, and he would fucking die if he was exposed to
Oh,
the
yeah.
outside air. So he has his fucking breathing apparatus, or else he's gonna croak. What the fuck does Kylo have a
I
mask?
thought you like Kylo.
I do, but the thing is, what's funny is you see Kylo as like that fucking. He's just like, I love my grandpa, but he's a little spoiled shit, and it's funny.
It's not his grandpa.
Spoilers, by the way. I'm sorry,
It
but
is.
it's no, it is. It is his
It is.
grandpa.
Wait,
It's
yeah,
not.
it is.
It
Darth
is.
Vader is not Kylo's grandpa.
It is.
It is.
because he's Leia's kid.
Yeah, Leia and Han's fucked
is
and
the
made
daughter
Kylo.
of Anakin.
Wait, Leia and Han's.
But there's something that bothered me about that movie that I thought,
shit.
but that I thought was like really stupid, and it
just
pissed me
realized.
off when they did it.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm not being too loud on the. I don't want to scream and like hurt everyone's ears, but there's like the part where Faye is sitting in the seat and Kylo's reading her mind or whatever. But what pisses me off,
Rey.
yeah. What pisses me off is
I liked her.
there's no buildup to the discovery of his face. he just takes off his fucking. This is a spoiler.
Corey, we've established this. All
But
spoilers.
he takes off his fucking mask, and you see this like fucking Napoleon Dynamite looking motherfucker, and he's like, "I'm dark and evil." But what's stupid is that part whenever Hans is on the walk thing with Kylo, and he takes off his mask. It would have been brilliant to see Kylo reveal his face to Hans because that would have been like true. Is his name?
But they did sort of
Hans,
already blow
It's singular.
that story element earlier in the movie. They mentioned he was his son like 5 times.
And you see, it could be interpreted in 2 ways. Where it's like,
I forgot Leia's father was Darth Vader.
he doesn't have anything to worry about. He's like, I'll take off my mask, and like it's whatever. You want to see his struggle whenever she's like, I'm a fucking Jedi too.
My beef-
stomping his feet.
It's like fucking destroying stuff.
My beef with Rey was like fucking how fast she learned how to be a master Jedi. It's like, look, it took like Luke ages. It took he was like in that fucking Yoda forest for years, like learning how to do that shit. She just did it in a second.
That's another thing I liked about Star Wars.
Actually, it's gonna explain that in the next movie.
Is it though?
I don't fucking know. Who cares?
That's
They
the
should
last
explain in
thing.
this movie.
Yeah, they should explain.
That's
that
the
in
thing
this
I
movie.
also liked about Star Wars was it's gonna sound kind of gay, but it gave me a Dragon Ball vibe, Dragon Ball Z vibe, like the coming of age, like learning how to train to become like super strong.
Yeah.
And with each generation, they get stronger. It's really weird, but I have kind of like a soft spot for any like animes or stuff that does that because I've always really loved like in Dragon Ball with like Master Roshi when Krillin and Gohan are learning how to become fighters and they're like they're carrying their turtle shells and their milk and they're carrying all this weight to get stronger. And I've always loved like that kind of a training style.
That's cool, yeah.
Same with like
It
the
shows they
Karate
struggle.
Kid. The Karate Kid. I like the original Karate Kid because of that. And I've always
they
had
earned it. They-
and this one, it was like a sum up of everything in like 2 seconds. You're just like,
Corey, did you see when you were watching all the original ones? Were you watching the edited versions or the original?
yeah, I was watching the edited ones.
Do you remember at the end when at the end of Return of the Jedi when they're all in the forest and like it's like doing that kind of nice music? Have you ever seen the original version of that?
Oh, the music? Yeah, it's like jungle, like weird.
It's like you have to see the original. You won't believe it.
The music is
No,
terrible.
it's literally like
Yum dub.
I'm not kidding.
Song.
Yeah, it's fucking garbage.
That's one good edit.
It's kind of catchy though.
It's really catchy, but it's the worst song ever. It does not suit at all.
That's one good edit, George Lucas. Another good edit he did was in The Phantom Menace. He changed it from the puppet Yoda to its CGI Yoda, which was way better than the puppet Yoda.
This is gonna sound messed up too, but I think Chewbacca's an obnoxious fuck. I hated hearing that asshole. When I was and when fucking Lexi told me that the little Ewok guys were going to be Wookiees, my fucking
Wait,
ears
what?
started bleeding thinking
I didn't
about
know that.
that.
What?
She told me that the Wookiees were originally going to be fucking Chewbacca's, and if you've
Oh, I
seen
thought you meant they grew up to be
everybody's
Wookiees.
seen
Ewoks.
the fucking Christmas.
Ewoks are supposed to be.
Wait,
Wookiee.
Wookiee?
Chewbacca-ians.
The original part, originally, apparently, so it's said, that planet of Ewoks was supposed to be a planet of Wookiees.
Oh.
And the idea of that
They sound like
makes
Ewok
me want to kill myself because the Ewoks alone made me
I like
want to
Chewie.
carve fucking lines into my leg. But then the idea of fucking listening to Chewbacca go,
I like Chewie.
you know what? Chewie is a charming character. He's funny, and it's like whenever you see him like do his like stuff, you can kind of because Han's like, "Hey, don't cop an attitude with me." He's like, he's like, "I heard that." It's funny, but it's fucking grating, man. You hear it for like if you were like me who watched fucking Star Wars every other day, and like, oh god, here's this fucking furry asshole coming on to fucking go.
Yeah, but like
Every
people,
now
when it came
and
out, they didn't watch it every day. It was like one, and then one came out 3 years later.
You know, it's fine, but it's like funny because everybody loves to do the Chewbacca thing, but it is the most grating fucking noise
It's not a
after
TV
a
show,
while.
it's a
Who
fucking
wants a sentient grizzly bear as a co-pilot? You can rip your arms off.
Yeah, it's always like, have you ever seen a like a 300-pound fur ball rip someone's arm off? Be careful. And it's like you're wrestling him, dude.
Did you see that delated scene where Chewie's sitting next to Han and Han's looking over and he's like pulling open his hair around his penis
Yeah.
and he takes his penis out?
Oh yeah, the little cord.
He's like Hans or Chewbacca.
It just came right out of his like fucking.
Yeah, and he's like,
And it's the first time Chewie talks English. He's like, hello.
yeah, and then his penis starts talking and starts going like.
Yeah.
I did laugh though whenever he was like, and he shot Kylo with the fucking like blow up arrow and fucking.
There's some really funny parts, like when Kylo Ren starts like smashing up the wall and those two stormtroopers just turn around and fuck off.
My favorite part is when Kylo Ren starts like shitting cum.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I am a fan of Star Wars, and I do enjoy the lore.
After everything you said, you were
Yeah, I was ignorant, and I watched it, and I actually really do enjoy Star Wars.
Yeah, you were singing its high praises except for the first three. Which
also, when we were at Aaron's, we watched the sixth one, the one I don't like.
Yeah,
so
I don't like that one either.
You
Me
can
and I were watching the de-edited versions, and like the first one came out, I was like, that was a really good movie. Wow, and then like because I haven't seen them since I was like 16.
We were laughing.
They're really funny movies too, and then the like, you know, episode 5 is like that is a really good movie, and then 6 is just fucking garbage. It's
boring.
Six just became.
Whenever
I like Jabba's palace, I hate anything in the woods.
The
and
Jabba
the whole
bits were
movie
great.
is in the woods.
there's like a silly speeder part where they're like flying off speeder
Yeah, how
bikes
many
and crashing
fucking guys
into
can
it.
you crash into a goddamn tree?
yeah,
That's
and it's
like
always
80
the same fucking angle.
and the
That's why
same
it was
explosion
funny.
as well.
Yeah, that's why it was funny. It's fucking the same crash into the fucking tree that is like repeated green screen and does the same thing. Overall, the whole like cliche, the gold guy is our god. C-3PO is his name?
It's too fucking baby.
I like the Jabba bits were really good, except for the part where Jabba just like reveals from behind a wall, you know, and, like just out of nowhere he's like, "Hello, I'm right here."
I like it.
I'll say one more thing about Star Wars. It's funny because my first real experience with actually watching Star Wars was I had a fucking like animated Ewoks adventure thing movie that I fucking loved. Because it was a cartoon, so the Ewoks talked.
I guess
they
it
were
was
like,
a little charming.
they were like, oh, you'll talk like this. So they like had voices.
Yeah, TiVo.
It was great though.
Like Warwick
It
Davis.
was like if the Ewoks talked and stuff, and they were like the cartoon, I would have loved it. You know?
That's the Star Wars segment.
That's Star Wars.
Yeah, right.